Zero Foxtrot does not profess to share or promote the opinions and beliefs expressed by show host or guests. The Stay Zero podcast was created to provide a platform for servicemen and women to share their stories. Due to the nature of this podcast, sensitive topics will arise. Conversations about combat, PTSD, drug use, and other such subjects will occur. Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm happy to jump down that with you in this. Let me introduce you real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Speaking with Steve Byrne right now.
Steve Byrne. Yeah, Byrne. The
Byrne?
R, B-Y-R-N-E, Byrne.
Oh, I missed the R. Okay.
It's all right.
Sorry
I
about
speak
that.
really fast, and when we did the one phone call we had, I was flying. I realized I could hear scribbling in the background.
Yeah. I was trying to keep up, but thanks for coming in, man. And you're a homicide detective south of Philly, right?
Yes.
And so that career path, you had an injury that changed the course of your professional life and I don't know, maybe some of your personal as well. And that's kind of what we're in here to talk about today, right?
Yeah.
So talk to me about you. Where did you were a homicide detective, right? In a real rough place.
Yes.
What in the hell made you want to do that?
Man, and that is exactly on line. So I'm lazy. I'll say that. I've always said that when I talk about my career. I took the easy path. And Christ, I don't know how old I am now. My old man was a cop. I believe your father was too.
Yeah.
My old man started though I was 5. He started in 85. He went to the academy. I can remember him going through the academy as a 30-some-year-old, 30 at the time, which is it's older than normal. And he left he's insane. He left an awesome job, making a shit ton of money to go be a police officer in a town he grew up in that I ended up growing up in for like 17 grand. And he was in the insurance business, had offices in Boston and Miami. I have no idea how he landed to be what he is, but he decided that was his call and he went. So as a little kid, I grew up like, oh yeah, cops and cool.
Yeah.
And then I became a complete derelict, like every other, most cops' kids and preachers' kids. Rebellious and stupid and just didn't care. Got expelled from a Catholic grade school just for being a dick. And I kept on that path. I have 2 younger brothers and, they were a little better. They stayed in Catholic school. They got to go to Catholic high school. I went to a public high school because my old man's like, you're not wasting my money to fail out or whatever. My younger brother, or the middle brother, Tommy, became a firefighter at 14 years old.
Wow.
And volunteers are where we're at. So he became a junior brigader, like below a junior. And the firehouse is literally behind my house. The police station's next door to my house in the town that we grew up in. So I watched him and I'm like, you nerd. Yeah, he's a couple years younger than me. And I think as I was graduating high school, I'm making it through because I'm making it through. But, I have alcohol issues already at that point. Just generally didn't give a shit about anything. Decided like, you know what? Mom and Dad have been really, really disappointed in my dumb ass for so long. I should do something better. And I joined the firehouse. So I was like, you know what, let me join there. And I literally had the thought, like, if something was to happen to me, at least they had a little, like, there's an honor thing. Or like, he tried to turn himself around. Plus you get a sense of community and shit. And there was also like weird, goofy perks. And, you got little blue lights in your car or whatever. I ended up taking a job at the airport. It's 99. So I work for U.S. Airways Express or whatever in Philadelphia's airport. And, life's cool. I tried going to college, community college, just didn't do well because I found out I liked smoking weed for a minute, literally like for like 5 months. And that just fucked my whole career. So I ended up getting a job. I was like, if something happens, I can retire from the airport. I knew all kinds of people, worked at the airlines forever, 1999. Ended up having a girlfriend, made adult decisions as children. Even though that canceled out, it really threw me through a loop. I started having some issues and a little depression stuff. And I just once I got to the airport, I was like, this is going to be great. This is a job I could retire at. And it was not. It was like clown college. It was
Really?
Oh my God. The things I did at the airport. That's a book I wrote.
You were a fireman for the airport.
No, I'm sorry. So I was just a regular baggage handler.
Oh, okay.
Just doing volunteer fire stuff on the Homicide, but just shenanigans occurred at the airport, right? And
Breaking into people's bags and shit.
You know what? That happened all the goddamn time. I refused to do it. I thought that was dishonorable, and I thought it was like it's cheap. It's easy. Well, I do that. Now, the company owns something. Shit, I have it. No problem damning a man. But passengers, I felt terrible at it, except for golfers. And I didn't steal shit. I just didn't like golf bags. And if you're like that pompous to fly your shit around, like you better be like teeing off it a little to the left. Then after I get done with them, like I'd be launching them everywhere. But so disrespect, Anyway, I realized like this is not a career for me, and I have to do something. I thought about the Coast Guard, believe it or not, and I went to a recruiter and started that process. I was like, yeah, this is what I could do. This. Fortunately, I didn't, because I have the problem going to the bathroom next to somebody, and I think that military, you gotta have to get rid of that real quick. And
yeah, it was
shotgun disease.
It was 3 to a urinal in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, right. I heard that. Yeah. So I was actually in the process. It was 2000. And I also got the letter from the police academy where, it's a college thing, and you apply and you go through all the testing, and then you go through it on your own. Some departments will pay for you to go, but for the most part, you're paying your own way. And after you're done, you got to go find a job. And in my area, Delco, we have 47 police departments. It's very densely populated between the city of Philadelphia and the Delaware state line. Cop jobs were like, there's one. Good luck. You got 1,000 people going for that job. Even part-time, we have part-time police officers, which is insane to most people, which, same exact job, same exact title, same gun, same badge, for like a fourth of the pay, no insurance, do whatever we tell you, kind of come in and go. Like,
what kind of people are doing that?
Idiots like myself, young guys trying to get in, because you get part-time to move to full-time is the thought process.
It's a foot in the door.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the dumbest thing that they've ever came up with, because why? Just pay your people. But it's a money thing as well, politics and shenanigans. But I got accepted into the police academy at the same time, and I elected to go there. So in 2001, I started full-time with the police academy at night, working the airport full-time as a, whatever. I was 20 years old, and, thought it was hot shit. Like, all right, man, I could do this. Dad's a police officer. I've been kind of an apprentice since 85. That's why I say I'm lazy. I know the job, even though I've never done it. I've been there. I've done ride-alongs. I've done some goofy shit as like just a kid with his dad in the car, and like had to go into action, yanking people out of cars and beating people up, like kind of cool shit. So I'm like, yeah, I could totally do this.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. This is going to be awesome. And then 9/11 happens, and I'm like in the middle of everything. I got fire company stuff, medic or EMT stuff. I'm in the police academy. I'm turning 21 the next week. Oh, and I work at the airport. So I have an inside scoop on everything from the airport side. And I was like, oh my God, like this is, we all felt, lived through that. Like you felt this, it was just such an odd, surreal moment. And now everything's changed. Like I had a week off from the airport, but they just shut it down. They didn't know what to do. Then I had to watch what turned into be thousands standing around TSA come through, which is just a joke. And like, even to this day, I get anxiety flying because I know what I used to do. And I know what went on behind the scenes. And now that TSA is involved, it's like, it's even bigger joke.
What are some of those things?
Oh man, people would, we'd go and fly. So we flew for free if you work for the airplane.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. So we'd take trips and do all this stuff. Well, it's kind of hard walking through with, weed in your pocket. I wouldn't say weapons per se, but we'll say weapons or anything that could be stopped by a metal detector pre 9/11. So we just walk around security because we had badges, no problem. 9/11 occurs. We're still doing the same thing. We're walking around the security, and you meet your buddy at the tarmac or like or the jetway, hand off what you got to hand off, and that's how you got in. That's just like simple stupid shit. Man, I did. In my career, I was near $2 million, but in one incident, I caused over $1.2 million in damage to an aircraft and kept my job and got paid like to take 2 weeks off where they did me a drug and alcohol test, which I passed. So they had to bring me right back. And we weren't even union. It was just the way it worked. Just
Wow.
Yeah, I cut the tail off a plane being a pompous asshole that was doing de-icing. And there's a guy in like a boom bucket and a Spanish kid. And he's like talking to me on headphones, and like these trucks are designed it's a boom truck with 2 tanks and fire stuff. And like I was in charge of the whole operation. I would talk to the pilots. I would coordinate. So like people were on the plane's getting de-iced and it's about to fly to Canada. So there's a customs problem. Brand new plane, been on the market or like in our possession for like 3 days. It's called an Embraer regional jet. And I'm at the back of the plane and the dude's in the boom and he's squirting stuff. And I'm in this truck and I have like a sunroof or a glass thing with a windshield wiper so I could see him and make sure I'm not hitting the plane. Nah, I'm too good. He's doing all this thing. I'm stuck here like, all right, ready to move? All right. And I start trying to move. The truck won't move and I keep hitting the engine. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm cutting through the tail.
Holy shit.
And the plane's jerking like this and the pilot's screaming and my manager's like, what? And I'm like, oh my God. And I like call up like, dude, what's up? And he's like, oh, shit, Poppy. I was like, oh, man. And I look back, and I mean, we were through the fiberglass. Fiberglass is falling on top, the whole vertical horizon, whatever. Yeah, so like all the people had to get off. Then they had to figure out how to fly them. The plane sat there for 3 weeks because they didn't have parts. They had to fly something from Calgary or something at some point to put, man, they were pissed. And like the night before, we were out drinking because we would go get hotel rooms, and it was on the company dime, and he was not doing yeah.
So you transitioned your life of crime and destruction.
So why not just go be a police officer, right? Like I'm totally going to make, I got good decisions, kind of like Axel Foley. Like I wasn't always a cop, stupid ass. Anyway, yeah. So I go to the academy. I get out of the academy, you know, I'm ready, need a job. I'm 21.
So the academy wasn't affiliated with any department.
Correct. It's
okay.
Yeah. So
then it's an application process.
Yep. Test. Wow. I've taken thousands of tests all over the country and done extremely well. Believe it or not, as bad as I did in high school and my first college, then like I am intelligent. I just don't apply myself.
Well, you don't have education without interest.
That's right.
So if you don't give a shit, you're not going to give a shit.
I 100% agree, man.
I get it.
End up testing. Couldn't buy a bucket. Couldn't get anything. Transient. So it was 2022. And my old man's a police officer. It's a small town with 10 officers and a chief and a sergeant. It's where I grew up. And the chief of police, who was a mentor of my father's, mentor of mine, older guy, been, I think he 40 or 50 years as a police officer, commit suicide. Got caught up in something dumb, financial thing, and decided that's his way out. And I'm at work. I get a phone call from my one of my brothers. He's like, dude, I just found, Chief, like he's dead. He just capped himself. And it was like, kind of like, like what that doesn't make any goddamn, religious guy and all that. And my old man was good with the politics. They were grooming him to be the next chief. And it was just like, you think they're going to move Dad now? And he's like, I guess. I'm like, man, that ain't the way he wants to go. Like, it's messed up. Fast forward like 2 months, they announce and promote my old man to chief of police. Awesome for his career, like deserved every bit of it. And I just couldn't wrap my head around how it happened. And now he's a white shirt, not a blue shirt. And like to me, that meant something because even though I wasn't working yet, I went to the academy. I've been around long enough, and I was like, boots on the ground kind of guy. Now you're going to a white shirt, and it kind of irked me. And then coincidentally, like 3 months later, I get a job. It's amazing how fast that worked. And the interview, it's 2 towns over. I'm interviewing with the counsel and the chief at the time, who was another old timer, who I swear Marksy, who was really par and Doc, they were competing for who could be the cop the longest. So they had to wait for one of them, each other to die. So he ended up retiring a month after they hired me. But the whole interview was asking me about my father and how he's making out and how the guys are working. Like, and I just got madder than hell. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm here. I'm not.
I have my own identity.
I'm good, bro. And that's how I started my career. And it sucked because I have a chip on my shoulder. I have my own ideas of doing the right thing and know what the job should entail, need the experience to prove that.
Yeah.
I go to this smaller town, 2 towns away, and it's actually in a rival like high school area to my high school. So half the department went to the rival school, the other one went to my school. And that mattered, believe it or not, for like the Thanksgiving football game. Like
high school?
The high school football game mattered in the police department, like stupid shit like that. And I didn't fit in. I did not get along with most of the guys there.
Yeah.
But I was only part-time. And that's it's because they look down on me as a part-time. You're just saying, oh, daddy got you hired. And I'm like, dude, every one of you got the same job for the exact same reason. Maybe worse, your parents were on council. You weren't even cops, you know? It's like, hey, fuck it, whatever, bud. I think at the start of it, this is funniness, if you will. I'm in a Crown Vic. I'm driving around with the guy who's supposed to be training me, who's trying to fall asleep actively. We got to go get gas. And I get out of the truck, or out of the car, and I go to fill it up. And I can't get the gas cap off. It's like pressurized, I guess. I have no idea. Or I'm just an idiot, but I mean, I'm turning the fucking thing and I'm like, what the? Good minute and a half, 2 minutes. Like, is this Monty Python? Like, there's a button somewhere?
Sir, that's an EV vehicle.
Or something. And I finally have to poke my head into this guy, and I'm not thinking about how embarrassing it should be. I'm just thinking like, the fuck's with the gas cap? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it won't open. He's like, unscrew it. Like, that's it. I was like, thanks. All right. And I go and I'm fucking fiddling with it so now he's watching me, and and then finally it opens up. And I fill up, close the damn thing off, take the receipt, like whatever I got to do. I get back in the car, and he's on the radio on like a private channel howling with the rest of the towns that we all like work together in a sector. And he's like, this dumb fuck, he can't even turn the fucking gasket, like this whole shit. And I was just like, really, bro? Like, seriously? He's like, what are you, retarded? I'm like, dude, what? Like, it's not that. All right, man, I see how this is going to be. And like shit like that. And
Give
it's like
one reason, man.
One reason. I wouldn't have made it in the military by any
yeah.
means with the way that, I don't
that's
like.
how you get a call sign.
Like,
what up there, gas cap?
Come on there. Yeah, right. There has green shoes
I've
for
had
a while.
I've had a lot.
Yeah,
I've had a few of my own. I was up Chuck for 6 months in the fire department for vomiting during a CPR.
That, like, that's legit, man.
I earned it.
You earned it, yeah. And I earned, I guess, because I can't get a gas cap.
Have you noticed a lot of nepotism in either your area or the police departments in general?
So nepotism, not in a negative connotation, just so a lot of generational cops, right? Yeah. Getting jobs back. I say back in the day. I mean, I've been doing this 20 some odd years, but like right now, you couldn't give a cop job away. There's nobody who gives a shit about being a police officer anymore, and I get it.
I do too.
I don't want to be it. I don't recommend it to anybody anymore. For millions of reasons, we can get into that. But when I started, like I said, I've tested thousands of places. I finished like in the top 3 at the same department 3 different times. Now I know that when I get to the interview, when I start talking, and they're like, "Holy shit, this guy's crazy. We can't have him on," or whatever. Or they my stigma comes with me, or the baggage I have. Cops talk and administrators talk, and they're like, "Oh, we like Steve, but he doesn't listen. He does whatever the fuck he wants to do." And I know it. I will argue that when I do that, I'm doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. It's not, I do whatever I want to do, and I go and commit a crime. Not like that. It's just, you told me you're not allowed to go past this line, and I'm like, well, all right, something happened over here. I got to go over that line. Like, that's just the way it is. But with the nepotism, like, it can be awful where guys get promoted, guys get just getting a job, and that's just ignorant to me. And my brother Tom, the middle one, he's a cop too. So this younger one was a smarter one. He's a paid fire guy at Boeing, and a fire chief volunteer, and political, and all this other stuff. He don't want nothing to do with his cops, which is smart. But guys are like, "Oh yeah, I got this job," and you're like, "Dude, you got it because your dad got it," and you're a dick about it. You didn't just like, "All right, I took that step, got this job, let me make it my own," which is what I always wanted to do. And I think I have done it. I won't talk about my brother now. Messing with my brother. What ended up happening for me is that little small town, I did like three years part-time, and I was always in trouble. I had people against me. I knew I had to, I needed a full-time job anyway. I was hoping. I stopped working the airport around 2005. I went to like a electronic store as loss prevention.
Okay.
All right. And I'm 25, working with a bunch of high schoolers. I've been a cop for like 3 years in a small town, but I've done some things. And I'm like, man, for like $7 an hour, $8 an hour, but I had benefits, And eventually I got picked up full time as a federal railroad cop at a Philadelphia 30th Street station, per Amtrak. So major thing. It's a nationwide.
Amtrak has its own cops, huh?
It's nationwide. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Believe it or not, they're like, I mean, I'm not going to talk shit, but they have a police force. So I got hired there. I was 25. I was full time, making money. Didn't know what to do with that. Working out 30th Street in Philly. Made arrests in New York, made arrests in DC, Baltimore, which was cool. But it was also like 2 years. Once again, I didn't fit in. And I know I know it's me, it's whatever. But like there, they want you to be smoking mirrors. They want you standing there, making sure the passengers are paying a lot of money, aren't assaulted or accosted by scrotes. But they don't want you, we don't want headlines. We don't need big arrest. All of our dogs were bomb dogs. No more narcos. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, the funnel comes from Lancaster in the west of Pennsylvania, comes into Philadelphia, and then spreads across the country through the train system. Like it's known. It was known in 2005.
Yeah.
So I kind of got shitty taste in my mouth.
It's tough to work somewhere where you're almost punished for taking the initiative and to do more than you were asked to do. And I've felt that way in recent years, and it does kind of rip the rug out from under you and take any
beat you up,
like excitement that you had to come into work. Like I got what I need to do, but I've got way extra that I can do. And so when I'm done with what I need to do, I would like to focus on what I can do because I think that there's more value there. And for them to come along and be like, yeah, no. Just stay there. The nail that sticks out gets the hammer.
Yep. Handcuffed.
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
what the fuck am I here for?
Yeah, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
I got stuck on midnights for a while, and you're literally bum police. And, last train's out. You got 3 hours, and then got to stir everybody up, get them out of the sight, out of mind, so the politicians can come in to go to DC or New York. And in the morning, it was every day, and it just kind of sucked. I used to take the street though, so actually I had a streetcar because I worked the street before. I know the streets. A lot of guys who I worked with there had no police experience, so I had to do 167 railroad miles was my jurisdiction. And I made a path and plan. And it was kind of cool because I'm young. I still had all my juice with the cops down where I'm from, that county, which is just south. So I would go and play with those guys, I would say. So if it was Friday, Saturday night, Thursday, Friday, go down in the Delco in the early portion of my shift or around when bars are getting out, see what we could stir up, and then go check North Philly and check the stupid shit before the end of my shift. And it was like a kind of cool thing. And I got into all kinds of crazy stuff. I got into stuff in Philly, like a complete jackass. I'm running and gunning, just like full scale, helicopter down. We're chasing, I don't know what we're chasing. I'm like a dog, like, yeah, we're going. And I'm with a whole group of cops that I can't talk to on a radio, running through like Kensington, which if you look that up, it's awful. Even back then, jumping fences. And like, I think I had a partner that night, but he's like, you ready? I'm like, yeah, we're going. And I finally see some Philly guy, and they're like, what the hell is Amtrak doing here? Like, where are we going? They're like, do you have any? I'm like, I don't know what we're looking for. I'm like, dude, it's a guy just slaughtered a family. He's got 3 guns. I'm like, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, I probably shouldn't be doing this. Stupid shit, man. But that was me. Like, I was all like revved up. I
go down. A taste for Homicide through doing that? Or
I tell you what, so, all right, where I grew up is 2 miles from the city I work in now.
Okay.
And I knew enough that growing up, I'm not allowed 2 miles that way. And I've never been 2 miles that way into that city because I know what's in the city. It's never been good. It's always been jacked up. There is a major university there, but even that's now all jacked up. But I didn't, and it wasn't my tea. Like, it wasn't like I was in the dope game or something like that where I would have to go down and get something. I just sat and drank in my little area and stayed. I stay over here, you stay over there type thing, which is weird. Even driving, like I didn't drive through the city. I would take the highways over there. And that's just the way I grew up and most people grow up in the county.
Intentionally didn't want to even drive through the city.
Yeah.
It's that bad over there.
Yeah. And, oh man,
I've never been. I
don't expect you. I really don't want you to be honest. I've witnessed shootings because I'm there as an officer, like more than a dozen times. Like just driving down the street, things happen. It's that bad, like crossfire stuff, and it's so in that city, yeah. Saving grace is staying the hell out, if you will.
Yeah.
For me to go to that city, I got jammed up at Amtrak. I got blackballed in the city. I didn't realize. An incident happened, and my whole shift got jammed. Guy died. And this is at Amtrak. I'm on the street. I hear the call come out for an emergency medical whatever. And I hear the guys in the street inside the station like shuffling over because it's like 4 a.m, 3 a.m. And the senior guy calls on the radio a little bit later. He's like, nothing's showing. And I was like, that's weird. So I'm all the way out in like some other train station checking some now. And I called out on the radio, like pretty much like, hey, I'm not there. I'm over here. I just had an inkling like something's wrong. Call comes back out, subject down. I'm like, man, that don't sound good. You know, I'm coming in from the city. I'll be down. It's like a 10, 15 minute ride. There's 4 or 5 guys working in the city. A couple are inside the station, the train station, a couple supervisors, a couple patrolmen. And they show up and they're like, yeah, get the medics here. He's down. Just thinking like, I don't know what's going on. I'm on the radio, like listening to radio. I'm like, man, that just sounds weird. Why would you have an minute? Who knows? And by the time I show up, oh boy, he's dead. They're carting him to the Penn Hospital, which is a phenomenal hospital, but putting him in that box. And my sergeant tells me, he's like, yo, go with them. If he doesn't make it, give me a time of death and blah, blah, blah. And a doctor's name, if he makes it, let me know. Cool. So I go over there. Guy doesn't make it. I come back and I look at the guys working. They're all much older than me. Like, I mean, in their 60s, some of these guys. And I know what I know. Just like, man, I don't have a good feeling about any of this. I'm like, I'll stay here. I'll do the rest of the work out here. Go get your story straight. Go figure this all out. Write it up together. Like, I'm cool. Here's the time.
What did he die of?
My professional opinion is anaphylactic shock.
Oh. So
what ends up happening is, dude isn't necessarily a scrote. We use that as a derogatory term. But
scrote?
Yeah. Like, so you got bums, you got the homeless, and you got scrotes, right?
So that's short for scrotum?
Because they smell like your bums. Oh, God. So.
The walking coin purse.
Yeah, just putrid. Homeless people are literally people that don't have homes. You know? They have chemical, drunks or drugs, but they go to work or they have some type of job, but they just can't.
Just don't have a house at the moment. Or
so they stay in a train station. They're very respectful. I say, hey, man, you got to get up. No problem, sir. They go wash up in the bathrooms, which other people we don't allow, but these guys, they're trying to make themselves presentable for the day, brush their teeth, and they go about their day. Bums, it's the next level down where they don't have jobs. They kind of chose this life. They're going to go try to bum things off of you, bum money, bum cigarettes, bum shit.
And have no interest in getting out of their situation.
No, okay. But they're not always disrespectful. They're not necessarily disrespectful. They're still the thing, but they're just there all day long. This is their thing. And then you got the scrotes who are like the criminals, the pungent, like just bugs and whatever, and they're just assholes. And you tell them to get out there. They want to challenge you because that nobody wants to touch you, like things like that. And they're just like the lowest form, and they're the criminal element of it. That's my own personal hierarchy of scroteism. So, but a scrote when you like, if you've ever been to a subway or a train station, you could smell it before you see it. Like your spidey senses go off, and like
we have that kind of shit here in Austin.
I've heard. Heard.
It's been a mess.
I've also heard that. Hopefully you guys can turn this around. Yeah,
they did pretty good. I mean, I think South by Southwest brings in so much money that when that comes around, they clean it up. And they've passed some rules. We used to have tent cities all over the place.
Good to get rid of that.
They've done it pretty well. You'll still find them sometimes under the overpasses, but it's definitely better than it was. Lady Bird Lake for a while was nothing but tents all around it with clotheslines, and they're shitting in the river filling the. So then the city's like, well, let's bring in porta potties and let's bring in water fountains and let's.
Yeah, that's not helping the system, man.
What you pay for is what you're going to get more of. What the hell are you doing? No.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess, but then they have the homeless shelter downtown, and so it's had a big effect on 6th Street.
Is it? Well, that's good that something is kind of working. And knowing the homeless, because of the city I work in, it's a poverty stricken. We have a bunch of different ministries and different things. And the people I talk to, they're awful inside. You're like, you could just go to the Salvation Army. No, it sucks.
And get raped.
You're getting raped and robbed. You're getting
exactly.
It's just. So actually, you think of a tent city under an overpass. I have no problem with that shit. Personally, whatever you're kind. There's a shelter in place, and if you're amongst a community, and you're, I say out of mind, out of way, but for real, you're not interfering with regular civilians.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, I'm not gonna come tear your shit down. I don't give a shit about that. But when you're occupying a building in a college to protest a war that we have a lot to do with without doing anything about it, right? That's a little ridiculous to me, but that's a whole nother.
Well, it's also go somewhere where you can protest and a person that might have ability to change the thing you're complaining about. What the fuck's the college going to do? Free Palestine? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. They're just, that's a whole.
There's not a college in the country that has the power to do that.
Not one. Not one. It's.
Well, they're all just trying to make a stir and get on the news.
Yeah, and everyone get your time, sell your sizzle. What ended up happening about this guy. This guy passes away, and he had a coffee in his hand from Dunkin' Donuts, and I believe he had a peanut allergy, and just because he was the actual guy from the first medical who was choking, and the officer that showed up cleared it out he never found the guy, but he actually did. He talked to the guy, and the guy waved him off I'm good. It was just something like that, and that was a mistake. Didn't document that he spoke to the guy, and then. I think he kept the only reason I'm basing this, and you having a medical background better than I, they couldn't tube him. I'm watching high level doctors at the university could not get into his throat.
Wow.
And that was what? That's that much of a restriction. That's what I figured. Either way, guy died. I mean, he just died. We didn't kill him. He just died. What happened is that no one did anything about it. And it's all on video. At one point, this jerk-off sergeant I had looks over at the guy laying on the ground and 3 guys standing over him just staring, waiting for the ambulance, and stops at D&D and gets him a donut and a coffee, and then just saunters over in the stairs. Doesn't say, hey, man, you want to try CPR? Doesn't say, hey, man, you want to try to, and that was an issue.
Yep.
I knew none of this, but I assumed something was wrong. Told the dudes to do their thing. This was over a weekend. The next Monday, the camera system is reviewed by some anti-crime guys. They had access. I also had access because I was always into something. So I used to be able to, pull some keys over here and this, that, and the other thing. And they watched the video, and it's bad. As in, bad that you didn't do anything. Right?
Yeah.
And we do have a duty
just watch the dude die.
Yeah, and I mean, we're probably dead then too, but you did nothing to try. You didn't even check. I mean, you didn't even check to see if he was dead or alive, right? Because you naturally have he's just a scrot or whatever.
Was there anything criminal in that? Are police obligated to do CPR?
It's touchy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly like a medical you are.
Right.
You have an oath that you have to uphold and all this stuff. Though I still don't think it's criminal if you don't act, but you're getting fired, you're getting sued.
Pretty shitty though.
It's pretty shitty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you say you were going to do that?
Yeah.
PD's still
training.
Similar. Yeah, right. You're definitely getting in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
one way or another. I don't know if you're going to get criminally. What ended up happening is that these guys got in trouble because the people that reviewed it told the captain of patrol and said, hey, you might want to watch the tapes about that incident, which was a nothing incident. It was just oh yeah, someone died on whatever. And sure shit, an internal affairs investigation that kicks off. And I get blamed for being a whistleblower. And I was like, ooh, let me tell you something right here, right now. I'm a cop's cop. There ain't no way I'm diming anybody out for anything, let alone something dumb like that. I was like, don't to get that out of your, and it traveled to the point where I got brought into an internal affairs investigation with my union rep, and I'm like, I'm pissed off. Like, the guy's sitting there trying to talk to me. I'm like, first off, fuck you. I was like, I don't know who you are. You're some dude from some other town or city that they brought in as a whatever. I was like, why is everyone saying that I'm the one that started this? He's like, I don't know. I was like, did I approach you? Did I start this investigation? He's like, no. And I look at him and he's like, I don't believe him or you. And I'm like, I don't know how else to explain it. I was like, all right, well, I have nothing to tell you. He's like, well, you're in trouble. I'm like, I'm not in trouble. I was out here. I'm like, go fuck yourself, man. I'm not helping you with your investigation either. You can dick off and leave. And I'm looking at my rep. And I'm like, did you think that was a coordinated, like orchestrated ordeal? And he's like, I don't know, whatever. I was like, man, cool. So in infinite wisdom, my captain's like, listen, I have to work with these guys. I still work. They ain't coming.
Yeah.
I get into a fight and with a screw and give me when you guys slide over here, I got a problem with this guy. And nobody came. I didn't get hurt or nothing, but it's like, hey, that's fucked up. It's one building. There's at least 4 of us in here. Like nothing. We're all that tied up. And I said something to my captain. I'm like, listen, this is going around. Like, what? I have nothing to do with this shit. She's like, I got you. I'm going to put you on my staff, take you out of patrol, put you working for me directly. I'm like, oh, that ain't going to work out.
Yeah.
And you're going to play burn pong, we called it. And I had to ride the train between Philly and Wilmington 8 times a day.
Oh, shit.
For the next 6 months. That was my job.
Just to ride the train, just a security officer there.
Just on the Acela, which is a nice train. Got to hang out with Biden every once in a while because he was still doing that stuff. And it sucked. And it's not a cop's job. And now everyone's like, oh, I knew he was a rat. He's this, that, you know what I mean? So I finally, I got to get the fuck out of here. And I'm working a bar on the side, which I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I run into this jackass cop who I knew from Part-Time World. So we were always like testing together and whatever. And he's talking shit about how he's getting hired in the city in Chester. And he's got it in, his uncle's a thing, and the apps are due like next week. And he's going to go do this. And I'm like, man, that clown could do it. I could do it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. So I went down, applied for the fire and the PD for the city, the small city of Chester. And, Christ, excuse me. I don't tell my dad. I don't tell my mom. I might have told the girlfriend. I don't know. I don't want no one to know. Because I'm making good money. Miserable as a mother. I end up leaving that staff job and going down to Wilmington Station and literally put my feet up, sitting in like a glassed-in booth and read. For the first time in my life, I ordered 50 books and I just sat and read 3 books a day. I didn't move. And that's what they wanted. I resigned myself to that, but I was looking to get another gig. And I ended up finishing number 1 on both the fire and the police test. When I went in to take the test, I've taken that exact test so many times that I knew the answers and I could fill out the answer sheet before I was done. I was done in 15 minutes. It takes like 3 hours to do the test because I've memorized. I could tell you right now the same mugshots that are in there 20 some years, 16 years now. I've took that test so many times, and like police departments buy some corporation's test. That's how this works. Crazy. And I sat down, I texted my brother. I'm like, so he knew. I was like, walk in a park. I got the Joe Purdy test is what we call it. And that's actually a guy who works in a neighboring town, but the one mugshot looks just like him from the 80s. And, he laughed, and I finished the test and then had to go find the proctors who were outside smoking, these old ladies. And I was like, hey, she's like, oh my God, you need something? I'm like, I'm done. And she's like, really? I was like, yeah. I handed her the test and I'm like, I got a 96. I don't know which 4 I get wrong, but I always get 4 wrong. And she's like, how the hell do you know? I was like, I don't know. And I left. So I'm a little cocky about it, but I'm like, well, if I want this job, I could take it. I got a huge pay raise at Amtrak. So I was making they gave me credit for my part-time work, which was insane. So I was making 5-year rate, even though I was there 2 years for this crazy contract. Biden got us, believe it or not. And I left $56,000 a year in 2007 to get shot at for 28. Like that was the ingenious thought process but that's how bad I needed to get out.
Yeah.
So
sometimes the money doesn't matter, man.
Right.
Like, you've got to have something that doesn't take your soul out of your chest.
I realize that though I'm not completely oblivious to the fact that I've been two places and two problems. Besides all the other jobs I've had, which I've never been fired from, I've been tried to be fired and gotten my job back one way or another, but neither here nor there. Like, I told my old man when he found out, like, they were pissed. And I was like, he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, dude, this is my last hurrah. Like, if I don't make it here, it's me. I'm the common denominator. Then I'll move on to something different. But I'm man enough. I'm bad enough. I could do this. And I was like 27. Got hired. Like 6 of us got hired. A couple guys like in 20 age, which I knew growing up in the police world. We all got hired together, and we were all cops at some point before. So we all got put on the street a week later. And the eye-opening experience of going into the major leagues, like I was fast. Like obviously not running. My eye speed.
What were you expecting to step into? And then like, what did you see? What was the contrast there?
So
was it what you were thinking it would be, or was it better or worse?
So much more dynamic, if you will. Like, I knew it's a shitty city. I knew there's a huge crime. The murder rate beats everybody in the country.
Really?
Like, oh my God, yeah.
In Chester,
Pennsylvania. I got a couple of websites I'll send you and all that.
Okay.
So a numbers guy, right? You know, figure out numbers.
Sure.
Your girl who was on the second episode from this town, she works here.
Jessica.
Awesome interview. I'd like to meet her. She made me, I like laughed out loud, and my wife was like, what was that? And I was like, oh man, I was waiting for her to say it, and I just got so giddy. And when she said it, I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. Like, Austin's got about 1 million people.
I think so.
I think it's just short of 1 million.
Yeah.
You're the 10th biggest city in the country, right? Something like that. She kept saying, which blew my mind. I'm like, what? And your homicide rate was 25 to 30. And I laughed like, hee. Now it's uptick. I get it. To 80, that's a lot. But you still have 1 million people.
Right.
I average about 30 homicides in Chester. We have 33,000 people.
Wow.
1 out of every 1,000 people to 1,250 people is murdered in my city a year. That's the concept. That's 100%. I'll put that stat against anybody.
Wow.
I'm not saying there's not bad places all over the country.
Sure, yeah.
I'm not saying that I don't.
Is it all gang stuff? What do you think is the uniqueness of Chester?
We are full of a culture, the ghetto culture, and it's been that way in the corruption and the poverty and just cesspool of bad management, bad politics, has driven the city down. I mean, we have a deep sea port, like going up to Philadelphia, but we have nothing on the waterfront because nobody can build without paying off somebody. And that's fact.
Anytime someone wants to put money in the community, the corruption soaks it up. Yeah.
Yep. So like the 80s, the crackdown, 70s sucked. 80s, 90s, and it just kept getting worse, and it's never gotten better. There are some great people there, obviously. There are some people that really did try to push good agendas or try to make some business decisions, but we have neighborhood gangs, which are much worse than your typical, Bloods or Crip gangs. Like, they were cute. They tried coming in, and I remember this guy coming in all red up, and he's like, I'm from New York, and I'm a recruiter from, he's telling me, like, trying to impress the 3 cops who are staring at the guy. And I was like, you have no idea what you're talking, like what you're getting into, bro. He's like, you don't know. We're going to run this. I was like, okay. And that dude was run out of the city by the neighborhood gangs within weeks.
Really?
Yeah. Those kids are my kids. My criminals don't, nothing. I used to tell people, I'm like, what I've learned in the time there is like, if they put their efforts together in the city, they could just wipe out other cities. They could take over Camden any day of the week. They could take over Wilmington any day of the week. It'd take them probably a week and a half to take over Philly. Like that. That's how aggressive and savage they can be. And it's messed up, but they can't. They don't think outside the perimeter of the city. They don't even know like Delaware exists for the most part. And that's kind of messed up because, man, now you're stuck in the city, and by the time you're 16 if you haven't shot somebody and you're a nerd, you're weird, you're whatever.
Really?
Like it's
There's a coming of age tradition within the gang to kill someone.
it's not even a kill. Like to prove how
I've heard of that sort of thing, like
prove your
getting jumped in or having to kill someone to get in.
Nah, it's not even like that. It's just growing up. What's crazy is that like the one intersection, they shoot at each other over the street. It's dude, you're not you live in the same, like we consider that beat, that area for policing. You're all the same, and no, he grew up on that street. It's like, dude, that's insane. The west side of our city is more has like an older crowd, and that's where I work patrol mostly. So there's a little bit different. There's respect for the game. You know, you're dealing with guys who've been through the system. Maybe they're in their 20s. They've already been to jail, so they're dealing. But if I roll up on the street, this is early 20. I got hired in 2007, up to like 2014 or so. That things really changed when cell phone technology really ramped up. But you know, you roll up and you see somebody in the street, like, yo, man, you got it. All right, yeah, no problem, sir. But on the east side, it was all young kids. That didn't happen. You had to get out. You had to physically chase them, beat them up, throw them around, whatever. And that didn't work. Like, as soon as you leave, you hear the shots behind you. You're like son of a bitch, man. And that still kind of goes on today. It's that dangerous, and that's I mean, that's how.
Are they very good shots?
Man, I'll tell you this.
Because I've always thought, like, God help us if they ever actually learned to run a gun.
I used to joke that I was I was on the union board for a long time. I was like, we need to make money in the union. We have nothing but property, like, to be available, right? Because there's no businesses coming in. So I was like, we as a union should buy chunk of land, make it a range, and run it, and have like warrantless Wednesdays. Like, we're not checking IDs. We don't want to know who you are, and we're going to teach everybody. Because there is innocents getting picked off left and right.
Yeah, stop missing, you idiots.
Yeah, you're hitting cars. We have a level 1 trauma center.
Yeah,
it's attached. It's a town next door, but it's literally ours. Who save so many more. So that 30 number, it could easily be in the hundreds. I mean, it's that, like, 200 shooting, 300 shootings is a normal year for us. And granted, no, the shots are shitty. There's a lot of this, that shit. So like foot shots and ricochets and all that stuff. But then we have some stone cold killers. We got some dudes who put in some work, put in some time. Accurate, became like serial killers technically under fortunately
within the gang
contract
communities?
Guys. Yeah, so I've seen it in my career. Guys, they're a little bit more now because there's people are moving so quickly now, as opposed to, like, if you grew up on the west side, you stayed west side. You didn't come to the east side unless you went to school, and then there was always fights in school. Now, like, families have got to move Section 8 things a lot more frequently. But, you know, in the early part of my career, a handful of guys were able to go anywhere in the city and not be messed with. They were okay being in there. And maybe it was because mom was from this project, dad's from this project, or uncle, aunt, or whatever. And those people, those guys were the bad dudes because they can go anywhere they want. They can do anything they want. And a couple of them became contract guys. And I mean, there's one dude, he's sitting in federal prison. He's probably mid-20s now. He has like 12 bodies on him. And he was doing that as a teenager, like just, taking hits for $5,000, $6,000, whatever. Taking contracts out. He was involved in one that, like, they killed a witness in Philly from coming out of like federal court. Like some big deal, like, holy shit, man, this guy, this is a kid, like, holy Christ, man. And that's that's a sad part. That's a scary part. I literally talked to a kid. I literally physically arrested him. It wasn't my warrant, but as a detective, I knew my people. I knew where I was supposed to be. And two detectives who got the murder warrant in their hand, they're like, I hear you're the guy. Here it is. I was like, all right. And 10 minutes later, I came back with him. I went right to where he's going to be. I hopped out, tried calling on the radio. Nobody heard me, but, I'm just in a shirt and tie at the time. My old regime of detectives, but grabbed them up and was, it's like, yeah, you got anything you got to burn here? I was like, they got a fucking, constable warrant, like a traffic warrant. I got to bring you in for this. maybe you saw something on a murder happen a couple of days ago. He's, I didn't see shit. You know, he's like an 18-year-old kid, but he didn't have anything on him. He didn't run, because if he had anything, he would have ran, you know. And I put him in cuffs, put him in the back of my car, seatbelt him in, turned on my classical music for whatever reason. My police car always have classical music, and drove him back to the city. He's never been out of prison. He won't be ever out of prison since that day. He's actually on phone calls like, yo, you know that crazy one with the tattoos? Yeah, he hopped out like what's up? Like, yo, I think you said this, that, and the other thing. He's like, man, I didn't see this coming. But he had like 5 bodies on him.
Wow.
18 years old. And I remember.
How do they know? Did he confess to that? How do they?
Just an investigation. We figured it all out. We got cameras. We got all this, that, and the other thing. We only got him for the one. And I got to sit and talk to him for a brief moment before the detectives came in, because I brought him up and sat him down. I was like, you know, you're in trouble, man. This, that, and the other thing. And he's like, you think when I get out of here, you can help me get to New York? I got an aunt somewhere up in New York. I think I'm over this city. And I was like, that's really, yeah, I think it's a really good idea to get out of the city, man. Knowing that he'll never get out of prison. They'll never
Your aunt
happen.
will be dead before you get out.
Yeah, and like you're in for life, man.
That sucks.
But that's the concept that one, everybody has that idea. It's messed up, man.
Why do you think they're so cavalier about going to prison?
It's the culture. So the ghetto culture and this bravado, like, you know, this is the torch. Like, I just picked up a kid. This is my homicide. He was in North Carolina. We flew him home. I got to interview him, and I got him to confess and all this stuff, which is a big deal in my career. But like, because it's at the end. But he's 17 now. He was 16 when he committed it. He's 17 now, and he's like, he's talking. You know, he's not giving up. He's giving a shit. I'm an honest dude. I can't lie. I'm incapable of it technically. And I go through that when I explain to somebody, like, I don't have empathy or sympathy anymore. I don't give a fuck about your feelings. So I don't lie to you. I don't care if you like what I have to say. And I was like, and I'm not being a dick about it. Like, I want you to generally know when I say something, it is fucking word. And I told him this, and we went back and forth. And I was like, dude, I got you on film. I got photos of you. No, you don't. I said, okay. And I went and got him. And I was like, psh, there you go, bro. And that's a damning thing, man. When you did some shit and like you're holding hard, like, I didn't do it. Well, it was me. And I was like,
okay, Shaggy.
Yeah, right. 100. So, because that's if I ever talk to the police, that's me. Like, well, me. I don't give a shit what you got. The next thing he says to me, he's like, all right, who can I talk to over the DA's office? It's a kid. I'm like, I'll call the district attorney right now, and he'll tell you what I'm about to tell you. I can't lie to you. We can't make a deal. And he's not going to be really able to make a deal. But if you want to speak on this, you speak on it. It'll help you. It's the best I can do. It won't hurt you. That's for sure. And he's like, all right. So I put him on the phone, and he says, listen, man, I could walk off like 20, but I don't want to do no more than 20. And I looked at it. I was like, what'd you just say? He said, yeah, I could walk off 20. It ain't nothing, but I don't want to do like 25 or 30. That's ridiculous, man. I'll give you, I did this shit, but I don't want to walk. I could walk off 20. And I just like staring at him, and I was dumbfounded. But I'm like, dude, you're not even 20 years old. Will you walk off 20 more years? How do you even come up with that? Like, you're 17 years old, dude. You haven't even lived 20 years, and you're like, I can walk off 20 years in a penitentiary. Like, that's insane to me. And that's the mentality that I'm dealing with, and it blows my mind. And it's sad. That's some sad shit.
He's obviously heard that from somebody.
Right, he's hearing
and
this from the
someone
streets.
has
Like,
rationalized what's an acceptable, amount of time that ain't that big a deal.
Bernie in prison.
Like, there's a reason, like, you get one life. Time's the most important thing that they could take from you. You can't get that back.
And then they have the mentality, I only do 3 days. A day I go in, a day go home, a day in between. And that's fucking nutty, because I ain't giving up my freedom for nothing.
Yeah. What was the DA like over there? Were they pro-police? Were they letting people out? What's as a homicide detective bringing these people in, you have to pitch it to the DA, right? That's how the system works. And then they indict and take to court or decide if they plea, what the punishment will be. What was it like working with the DA there? Let
me move up before that.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about my detective career.
Yeah.
I've been doing this 20 some odd years. In 2015, I got promoted to corporal in patrol. in Chester. So I did enough time. The only reason I got moved up, like I said, blackball, the only is because I was the only one to pass the test. Literally, I was just,
You're a good test taker, huh?
dude. I was the tallest midget in the circus. Right, I think that's what my chief told me. They had to promote me, and they didn't. And I knew how they could get around me, and I told them, like, listen, you don't want to promote me. Like, you just failed me on the interview. And they're like, we don't have to give you an interview. You're the only one to pass. I'm like, no, you have to give me an interview, technically, because that's part of the process. Yeah. If you elect not to, that's on you. But if you really didn't want to get around me, this is how you get. Nah, that's all right, man. So I made Corporal. I made money. Like, we were so short. I was working around the clock, and that was a lot of my issues. I had a wife and 2 little kids at the time. She didn't work. I worked, and I worked myself to death.
Yeah.
Get bumped up. And at the time, in their infinite wisdom, they wanted to put more people in the street. Can't fault them for that. They would put corporals, first line of supervision, inside the cell block, inside the cell block is, so it's not jail. It's where you're held before you go see the judge. Then you move on to the real jail, the county jail.
Okay. But
we have a large cell block area, and we have a lot of crime. And we would sit in there and run NCIC, work the computer. So, check warrants and all that stuff, run your licenses and shit on the radio. So we kind of held the radio and ran that scope. And then you had one other guy inside with your girl, as a turnkey who did the paperwork and all that. That was a patrolman usually. And everybody else could be out on the street in theory. In our city, I didn't even touch on this. Our normal is 6 guys on the street. 6 cars, and usually a sergeant, a captain, 2 supervisors. That covers the entire city. Crime rate, as I said, is outrageous, but that was our norm. That's what we usually. We are nowhere near that now. But
nowhere near 6?
Yeah, they're allowed. I'll get into that.
There's not a whole lot of buffer room for being near 6. Shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get promoted. I sit downstairs and waste away. I'm pissed off at the world. I get out in the street as much as I can. Because that's where I'm a street guy. Like, as my career moved on, like, I love answering the calls. I'm in a car chase all the time. I'm not running after anybody anymore, but like, I'm a street guy. When I made supervisor, like, that made me feel a lot better that I can help a lot of guys. Because I can get in trouble just as fast as anybody else, but I can get out of trouble just as fast. And even with with the union stuff, like, something fucks up, like, I can write that out. It's creative writing, articulation and things. But I kind of got banished inside, like the rest of us corporals, for like about a year or 2. And then I was going to progress into detectives, because corporals are it's the same rank, same, you have to, but the detective squad, like, they're the senior guys. They've been doing it for a while. So you got to wait your turn. And then lo and behold, they screw our contract all up. And I was part of the union board at the time, which sucked because I had to eat that cock sandwich, but no roll.
Hopefully put some mayonnaise on it for you.
Yeah, a little bit. Just blizzy it down. So we had 9 detectives, 7 of them retired last day of the year.
All at the same time?
Yep. They had to, because they were all out, and like the contract kicked in January 1st and it wasn't good. So they left on good, no good.
Wow.
So now there's 2 and a new captain in the bureau. That's it. And politics were like, well, let's see how long this lasts. And we already had a homicide for the year. And there's only 2 guys. And they wouldn't promote, like, move us. And I'm like, there's only 4 of us. Like, you got to move us. Like, what are you doing? No, we were waiting. They waited a week. And I was a union guy. So I got told to go see the news lady outside and do an interview. And whatever I do, don't talk about numbers. Because apparently I can get fired for that, which I just said it. And I was like, okay. And that's all I heard. And I went out there in uniform and I stood in front of this, and she beat me for 10 minutes and I kept fighting the whole thing, freezing my ass off. And I wouldn't say. She goes, seriously, there's only 2 like detectives. And I was like, today. And boom, that got me. Needless to say, I was moved into detectives a week later, or less than a week later. That was a weekend, with the other 3 guys. And they're like, here you go, man. And I got my first homicide 5 days later. Here you go, bro. That's it. That was my training.
Was there a training on how to be a detective? You're just walking in trying to figure it out.
Good luck, everybody.
Wow.
So I got 2 guys. One's only got a year ahead of me in detectives. Another guy a little bit seasoned, who's my man. A captain that has no idea. And I'm the senior guy of the new 4, so I'm number 3 in command in the hierarchy. And we started Monday, Friday. I get called as I'm leaving. Hey man, got a body. So the way we work, the county district attorney's office has a criminal investigation division. Police officers are all detectives. We work with them for homicides. Most of the towns in our county do the same thing, but we definitely do it in the city. So I had a hard charging senior guy. He used to work in my city and he moved on here, but he retired, I think 6 months later, but he was my partner. He was awesome, but he also fucked me every chance he got by accident. So
he just fell on his dick over and over.
Just all day long. He'd get me in the car and just be like, come on over here.
I hate when that happens.
He did me so dirty, and it's funny, it's awful, but it's my first case, and I know I'm figuring it out. I'm like, I know who did this. I know what it's about, but I can't get anywhere near court. So I'm trying to get the family to talk. It's within the first few days. And I find out that one brother has a warrant, and it's like a bullshit warrant, but it's a warrant and something to hold leverage over somebody. But they're about to have the funeral for the kid. And the kid, this is what's messed up. The kid had he wasn't in the game. And that's important. Like, he's just a dude. He's just a kid in Chester. He's not in the gangs, not in the drugs, not shooting people. His brothers are, but he's not. He's just an 18-year-old dude.
It sucks.
I go over to the house. It's the day before the funeral. I get a hold of mom, a father figure. I'm not sure what the relationship was. And the kid who's won he's hiding from me because he knows. And I said, listen, I'm with my partner from the job. So he's actually tattooed on me. One of my guys is in my car, one of my detectives. And I'm like, listen, I know he's got a warrant. I want him to make sure he's at the service for his brother, do the right thing here. But I need you guys to come in afterwards. I need you to come and talk to me. I need him to tell me what he knows. I know he's on the video. I know he's my witness. I need him to give up. And the guys who did it wanted to get him,
Sure.
And heart to heart. These are my citizens. These are my people. I care. It's my first job too, right? And you know what? I got you. They take my car, shake my hand. I'll text you. No problem. Father figure guy, everybody was awesome. And condolences too. This is messed up.
Yeah.
I drive away. It's at 2:00 in the afternoon. At 4:00, the sheriff raided the house, kicked the door in, beat the fucking brakes off some people to get the kid who's hiding under a bed. And I say kid, he's 19 or 20.
Yeah.
Lock him up. 2 hours after I was there. And I kind of find out because the mom calls me flipping shit, cursing me out, calling me a no nothing, no, you don't know, you rookie motherfucker, no, you don't know shit, all this stuff. And I was like, what the fuck? Oh my God. I was about to cry. Oh my God, I didn't do that. Fuck you. Boop. What the fuck? So I called the other detective from the county. I said, yo, the sheriff just raided the house and locked dude up. The funeral's tomorrow. Yeah, I told him to go down there and go get him. We'll put some pressure on him. I said, oh my God, this is my case. You're helping me, but the family just blew their gasket. I just got cursed out by my mom. Called me a rookie punk motherfucker, dude. How am I supposed to see them ever again?
Yeah.
Said, we'll figure it out. And that was the old way of mentality, right? So he hangs the phone up. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm in disbelief. What am I supposed to do? This is an agency I need to work with. They're the ones who are supposed to train me on how to do my job. And I got a lot of respect for the dude, but man, you just fucked me. You fucked me hard.
Terrible bedside me.
Yeah, right? And I get a phone call real quick from the county. I see the number. And I'm like, sure. I pick it up. And it's another detective. You rookie fucking know nothing, punk motherfucker. Boop, hang up the phone. I'm like, oh, now this is going to start. Here we go. I'm the rookie motherfucker. All right, man. All right. Anyway, I never solved the case. And that was the first of 7 that I got in my first 2.5 years that were just assigned to me. January 17, June of 19. I got injured in 19, in June of 19. But in that time frame, I showed up as a, shirt and tie. I was going through some drastic weight loss because I had a gastric sleeve surgery a year or so before, and I stopped eating and was drinking nothing but alcohol. I was at the worst part of my life ever. Divorce was imminent. Suicide was there. I was fucked. I went through that as a detective. So I went from knowing my job, knowing the street, doing this thing to be, hey, you got to sit in an office and figure shit out while my life crumbled away and living out of my car and shit. And
how did you come back from that?
Fucking divine intervention. I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in God. I believe in the law of attraction. I don't know if you're familiar with the actual law of attraction. There's like books and shit written about it. The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. No relation.
So that's sort of like you get back from the universe what you put out into it?
Yeah, positive energy, positive thought process, karma. I've always believed in doing what's right, right? I had a girlfriend at some point in my earlier on who gave me the book, The Secret, and said, you should read this. This may change your life, but you have to be open to it. Yeah, okay. And I read it and I'm like, yeah, I can see why I have to be open to this concept of things being positive, because that's never been me. I've been a negative dude. I've been messed up my whole life. I've never done anything about it. And that's a story I want to tell maybe some other time with you. But point being is that everything went to shit in my life, and I got moved into this new detective thing. And I got to tell you, the amount of data, the inundation of data from going from street level patrol, even with investigations, to 24/7, you don't turn your shit off, and just information at all times. And granted, it was a tough part of my life, but I also had like this overwhelming like experience, and I hated it. I didn't want anything to do with it because I wasn't comfortable doing it, and I wasn't successful. I'm trying not to die at my own hand. Like, I already knew my wife now. She was a medic in the city. At the time, I used to just stare at her from afar, like, oh yeah, one of them deals. So we became friends, but we never, nothing else. Like, I was married and I've held that role. When I eventually left the house and left the marriage to live in my car and just shower at the station, and I literally had my shit hanging up there, and I just couldn't take being at home anymore. Really contemplating, like, I'm going to end this in any minute. My boys were young, but I was at the grave site of a friend of mine who passed from leukemia years when I was at Amtrak, believe it or not, in 06. And I would go to visit him every year on his death. And I was there just like always, but really going through it, like, and somehow I threw a flag, and my wife saw it, and I ended up driving all the way out to see her, just to meet her at like a parking lot of a pizza place or whatever, and she gave me a hug. That's it. We talked for a little bit, but she gave me a hug. Just said, man, I know you're going through something, and that was enough to keep me going until I figured shit out. And it took me years to figure shit out with her.
Just one hug.
Just a hug. And let me know, like, hey man, it's okay.
I think there's a lot of guys that once we become isolated from our friends, from our family, and I remember coming home from deployments and feeling the touch of affection from a person again. It was weird. Yeah. Like, it made me uncomfortable. And it was a person I'd known and been dating for years, but to just have someone touch me again, like, my initial reaction was to withdraw, but then it was like I would just kind of melt. Yeah. And it has an impact for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and I was touch and go for the next year and a half. But I had her.
Yeah.
And she's my saving grace, right? So.
And this is your ex-wife?
No, this is my wife now.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. So we were,
okay.
My ex-wife.
So the medic came up and gave you a hug.
Yeah. So,
okay. Maybe brushed against your nightstick a little.
It's funny. So when we started dating, she was already a nurse and left being a medic on the street and was working at the prison. And for the years that she was a medic and on the street, and I was on the street, like, yeah, we passed each other. I didn't realize she kind of, fat buddy. I didn't expect anyone to really give a shit, but, but she also knew I was married, and we just lines we don't cross, right? So now she's a nurse, and this hug comes out of nowhere, and eventually we kind of start dating, and I'm like, listen, you can't work at the prison and be with me like that. I've made a lot of enemies, a lot of places, and that's definitely a place where you don't want to be.
Yeah.
And she ended up hating the job anyway. She ended up leaving. She did go back to being a medic, but doing her nurse thing as well. And as our life together progressed, but for the same time frame of everything going to shit in my life and things changing for better eventually, I'm also in this detective job, and I have no success. I'm successful everywhere else in other crimes. I'm literally living in the police station. I'm drinking every day, nonstop, but I'm living there. I had a couple cases with the FBI where I would watch cameras in a hotel looking at, it's when Backpage was a thing. So there's hookers and stuff, but looking for trafficking, seeing all this stuff for a year. I pawned this off and got overtime for this. I would run it on my phone. I'd sit at the bar, prop it up, and just drink and watch Johns in and out. And then I remembered like seeing one and identifying this car and all that, and like jumping in my car and taking off and pulling them over and trying to, because I didn't understand the world. So but like I had that stuff. I'm doing great.
You're just winging it out there.
Oh, just making shit up as I go along, and they're paying me to do it. But come to a homicide, dude, I couldn't do anything. And I know everyone that's been killed. I know why they were killed, by who they were killed. I just can't bring it to anywhere, right?
What's the hang up from being able to bring it to finding evidence, getting communities to cooperate with police?
Community.
No one wants to be a snitch.
Nobody wants to snitch. Nobody wants to tell you shit. They want you to figure it out. You're the police. You should figure it out on your own type shit.
Well, then your neighborhood's going to always be a fucking gun range.
Valid argument, but nobody wants to have it because nobody understands it. And who am I telling? Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And it sucked. And I got my other guys, new guys, and we brought on a few more after us. They were having success, and I was not. And like I kept joking, I'm the Nolan Ryan of like Homicide. I'm the strikeout king, man. I was 0-7. Had some major cases. I was one of the first to get a conviction for a dealer providing heroin and then resulting in his death. And that's a homicide now. It was a newer charge, and it's only been done 3. By the time when I got it, I was like the 3rd or 4th conviction in the state, but the first one in the area.
Okay.
And I was like, that's my one. I'm taking that. And they're like, you ain't getting, talking shit. No, you don't get +1 on that. I'm like, no, that's my, and that was a big case, a year-long case. And we could talk about addiction in the 2 minutes we have about that. But like, I ran that because of the parents, not because of the kid. And I realized that the kid was a kid. Like, it was one of those that made it more real for me. Because normally I'm like, fucking junkie, whatever, man.
Right.
And his mom made it real.
Personal.
And she was awesome. Her and her daughter were fucking aces. They put we had 2 different district attorneys during this case, put them on their ass for me, for their son, her brother. And that made a difference. And that got me what I needed to get done, because I was begging them to give me the warrant. I was like, I have everything. There's nothing more. And they wouldn't give it to me. And the one DA was a drug czar at one point. So she was into drugs, like cases. And then she admitted she never even read the report to the family while I was standing there. I thought she was going to go ballistic. But I eventually got a conviction on that. But kept striking out everywhere. And it's gang violence. That's the other thing. So like some people got what they deserve. I ain't gonna lie.
Playing the game, you're gonna get wrapped up in it, You
got that every day. Very few innocents, but the one guy, he just got home from a rape charge where he raped and sexually assaulted this woman 15 years ago, and he got out. Well, now her kids, the 2 twins, are of age, and they saw him walking down the street, and they did him dirty. But I'm like,
I don't hate it.
No, right. I was like, that's what happens, bro.
That's what, if you fuck with my family, you fuck with my kid, right. I will actually come to your court and I will tell the judge to give you the shortest sentence possible.
Mm-hmm. Just so I can get you.
You're fucking mine.
Yeah, right.
100%. I got 10 years to plan it.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
I know
all day.
exactly when you're getting out, and I get to plan it right on. I dig a deep hole.
Yeah. No, it's so in the beginning, the first portion of my detective career, it sucked, detective wise. And as my life was getting better with therapy, I finally accepted that. I found out all my life I knew I was messed up, and they told me, yeah, you actually are bipolar,
so
and you have borderline personality.
Therapy's helped you.
Yes. It's the only thing I've ever gone all in.
What is it about therapy? Is it just the organization of your thoughts that helps you what is it that helps you with that?
I guess I'm really, it's just getting out of you.
Yeah.
I bottle everything up anyway. And I'm always in my head. And at that moment, when I finally found my therapist, it was, I didn't want nothing to do with it because I got screwed by a therapist a year before. Really bad. She took notes, gave me a bill to give to my city. I didn't open it, but inside the bill was notes, including how I envy my friends who have killed themselves before. That person, I finally opened up after my second shooting.
And she betrayed you.
And my God. So for me to open up, it kicking and screaming the whole way. Ultimatums and stuff like that. And I'm not retarded. I know, like, I'm gonna off myself. Like, I have kids. Like, can I try? I should try everything first.
Yeah.
Before I go and start that gun. And I did try, and it, man, broke down walls. It took some time, but it was awesome. And it's the only thing I keep, like, I don't miss my appointments. I may have short appointment. I may be like, I'm feeling good this week or whatever, kick it off. And then I started medication. Some person we could talk about outside of here. I'd like to get away from my SSRIs personally, but I know I can't right now. And I probably can't anytime healthy, but I need to explore some other alternatives that you've talked about on your episodes that I would like to check out, because there's got to be something better, because the pharmaceutical companies are fucked up. But I know that it's keeping me as level as it can. So I started taking pills, figured out which ones worked, which ones don't. And, there's cons always, sexual side effects are cons, but everything else, like, this keeps me here. And that's all I need. It brings the noise out of my head, the therapy and the meds, and I can start living a better life. And I have. 2019, I get hit by a car. I'm in the car. I get in an accident. Guy rear ends me, shooting heroin, nods out and just drives right in the back of my police car. I'm stuck at a red light, not paying attention. So I actually felt, and I don't want to be disrespectful when I say I felt like I got hit by an IED, because I don't know what the fuck that means. But I got instant brain TBI, and I had post-concussion syndrome because of it. But I had no idea what happened. I've been in 14 car crashes at work too. I literally do anything I want to do. But this one's one I had no control over, never saw it coming, and put me out of work for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Fortunately, it was 2019, so I missed 2020, COVID years, the fucking riots and all that. I wasn't a cop. I was selling guns in my gun shop. Like, Trump years were really good for me. But I working on getting better. I was out of being a cop. I was done. I was cool. Big goatee, fucking mohawk here. Like, this is where all this stuff came from. I don't want to go back to work. I don't need to. I'm done with that life. I'm moving on. I'm healthier. Therapy, medication, life's going good. Diane and I, as my wife now, we've established, we were living together. We merged our families. The ex-wife and I were getting along, so, like, we weren't having too many. Life was good, and I felt great. And then they stopped paying me insurance. I tried going back to work for 3 weeks in 2021, and I felt like, you know what? I need to give it one more shot, like an idiot. What I was really looking at is there was another job down the line. I was like, I think I may be able to get that job, but I got to prove that I can still do this. I literally walked back to work. 3 weeks I lasted, and my brain wouldn't allow me to do it. The concussion stuff. I missed a gun searching a car that was, and if you tied a red balloon around it, maybe that would be more obvious. It was sitting in the console, like here, and I checked this whole car and I don't see it. It's an H&K too. Like, it's not a small gun.
Yeah.
I tell another guy, I'm like, yo, run through this car. See, there's something in this car. I know that there's something. And it was an interdiction thing. I was like, and he's like, you fucking with me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Where's your gun? I'm like, oh, it's right here. He's like, well, whose gun is this? And like, I had missed it. And I realized it somehow in my brain, it didn't click.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I can't do this. Let me go back on the shelf, continue with my eye therapy, continue with whatever. And because I did that hiccup, the insurance company's like, oh, no, you're good. You can go back to work. So they stopped paying me. I ran out all my time off, unbeknownst to me. And they just literally, I got no paycheck one day. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And they're like, yeah, you don't have any more time. I'm like, oh, the insurance company hasn't paid in a year. So I had to make a decision in the end of 2021. Do I go back under protest or do I just walk away and figure this shit out? Economy starting to slope really bad. I'm like, I don't know if my businesses are going to be able to keep me alive. Health insurance, like my kids. So I made the decision to go back to work under protest while suing and getting things worked out. Like, because it's messed up. To this day, I have injuries, right? So I had a new captain who's a guy we worked together for our whole career. I tell him, listen, I'm going to come back. I'm the senior guy. I'm the number one guy. I don't want to take anyone's job. I don't want you to bump anybody off of what assignments they're on. Give me whatever nobody else wants to do. Because we have so much work and there's only 9 of us, right? Or 7 of us at the time. I was like, give me my Crown Vic back. He's like, I drive that. I was like, I know. Give me the Crown Vic and give me whatever nobody else wants to do. I'll do that. So I started doing like retail theft. I came back like hot shit. Like, oh man, look at all these crimes I'm solving. There, yeah, this guy stole a Snicker bar. I solved it. And I catch my first homicide. And it's like, we talk about shots. This, you'll appreciate it. 1 in a billion shot happened. Dude has a beef with this guy for some reason. I don't know. They run into each other one night or not. They don't even run into each other. Guy's at the Chinese store. The victim, bad guy sees him in his car, sees him. It's like, I got you. Waits. Dude pulls up or pulls away from the Chinese store, gets to a main intersection. It's 9th and Curlin. Bad guy's watching him, runs down 8th Street because this dude makes a left and goes west on 9th. So he's parallel him technically, but he's getting ahead of him, stops on this intersection. He's at 8th and Butler, we'll call it, I think. So 8th and Street. This guy's traveling 35 to 40 miles an hour. He gets out of his car, gets in the middle of the street, waits for him to come across. It's a blind intersection because there's 2 stores on the corner. So he only has that window. From a block away at 35 to 40 miles an hour, throws 3 rounds. 1 skipped down and hit the sidewalk. 1 hits the front A post of the car into the windshield. The other one goes through the back seat behind the B post and hits the dude straight in the head.
Wow.
Guy just coasts in his car, stops in the middle of an intersection. Dude gets back in his car, drives away. We have it on video, not clear video, but we could tell what happened. And we get a call for a vehicle in the middle of the street. The guy show up and there's a dead guy in it, dead kid in it. 1 in a million shot. He just a month ago, before maybe a couple weeks ago, that dude took a deal. So it's my first official conviction, 25 years to 25 to 50, I think, for the homicide, which I was like, dude, I thought for sure we're never getting that first degree. Like, dude, there's no way you could say he meant to kill that guy, right? He's just throwing rounds down the range. And that's not attempted homicide in our area. Like, if you don't kill the person, you're just aggravating assault them. Like, you're not attempting to kill them. Yeah. Wow. Shooting somebody. Yeah. That's the justice system. But
he's just feeling a little rowdy today.
He just a little randy. But that was the first one where I got a warrant. And the day I need the warrant done, like I'm telling the district attorney, I need this warrant. I want to give me the warrant. And I'm antsy. I want that first one. They're like, nah, we need more time. I get into a fight with my captain, like a bad one, in the street on another homicide scene. And he tells me, like, pretty much take my ball and go home. And I motherfuck him in front of the SWAT team, those neighborhoods. Like, he wouldn't come near me because I would have beat his ass. Like, it was that bad. And I finally was like, you know what? I don't need to be here. Like, I don't want to be here anyway. Like, this isn't helping my life. So I got my car and like the neighborhood's like, what the fuck was that, man? I'm like, I'm just trying to do the right thing. But those clowns want to go and blow that house up with the SWAT team, blah, 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 and talking shit. I ended up helping solve that case, literally running into the bad kid, the killer's aunt who he was in the car with and whatever. And I was like, here's my phone number. Get a hold of him and get him in. Bring him into this and call me when you're bringing him in. He's 18 years old. He turned 18 2 days ago. His boys aren't going to hold him on the street as they told him. Get into his head. He turns himself in. We can make this work. He'll have a life after this. She called me that night. She brought him into the station. And I mean, he's doing his time, doing his thing. But after being told to go fuck myself. So I left. And I got in my car, cleared my desk, took my ball, and I went home for 2 months. And I realized I don't have any money. And I was like, God damn it. So I had to suck it up and go back.
Yeah.
The first week I was like, everyone thought I quit for sure. Like I literally quit on the radio, cursing people out, doing the whole thing. The DA's like, all right, we're going to give that, where'd Byrne go? Oh, all right, we need you to sign this warrant. So somebody else had to sign it for me, like not my name. So like in the paper, it's all about this other detective doing it. Literally, it's his name on my work. So I was like, I'm taking credit for that one, you pricks, because I may never get another one. And I eventually go back, catch a job. As soon as I get back, I fucking solved that one. Now that dude still wanted, and it was July of 22. But I say solved, like I got a murder warrant, and my murder warrants they're guarantees in my opinion. I mean, you could lose shit into jury trial, but like to me, that's as good as a conviction as it's gonna be. But he still won it. But I got 2. I'm like, whoa, hot shit. And I'm up to 6 now, right? I'm 6 for 6. I realized when I came back under protest, I didn't come back in shirt and tie with my crew cut or all that bullshit. I came back in comfortable clothes. Hey dudes, the last year or so, I say tactical pants, not at all, but comfortable pants, not jeans, but not suit pants for sure. Zero Foxtrot t-shirts. My hoodie would be my norm. I'd have a shirt and tie hanging because I had to do it for court. Sure. But anytime the bosses came to give me shit, I'm like, just let me do my thing, man. And I'd go out in the street and I'd get results. Just get people to talk to me. And I couldn't figure it out. And I realized that not only my attire breaks the ice, right? Yeah. But also my attitude. I'm medicated now. I'm level. I'm in therapy. Life's going good at home. And I've shed like that nervous energy of not, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Not that I know what I'm doing now, but like in the beginning and all the stuff that I did when I first came as a detective is gone, right? And now I got a bunch of young kids I'm trying to work with, and on the street, I don't even know who they are. And now I feel like I can give back a little bit more to them. So winding down to the reason I came out here today, I found a niche. I have another new captain. Like captains are coming to me. I've been a supervisor longer than almost everybody in the whole department, chiefs and all. They just jumped ahead of me or whatever. But like, I have an outlook on life. I have an outlook on policing. I have an outlook on different things. And I'm sharing it with people, right? And we're getting results. The guys in the street are doing fantastic because our numbers are dropping historically awfully, like fraction of what we should be at. And I came back, I was the new guy because I was out for 2.5 years, which, it's not a big deal, but I found out we have like license plate readers and we have camera systems that work on our phone. I'm like, what? I was like no, we don't write anything out anymore. We have a computer for that. Like blew my mind. So I'm the old guy and I got really good at watching camera footage. I'm really good with observation and behavior stuff. So like I can pick up vehicles and I know where you're going to go because I know where you want to go and I can pick that up. So I started getting really good at that. February 17th of this year, I get called in for a shooting. We had a homicide the day before. There's only 5 of us working now as detectives. We're losing people left and right. I get called in on that Saturday for a shooting. No, nothing. Nobody gets hit in the knee. I show up. There's another couple detectives. They got the victim. He says, this car did this, and this. We find a video. I look at the car. I could tell it's got a weird hubcap. So I go back on my system. I find that hubcap. I find the license plate attached to that car. Run it. Comes back to a guy, 40-year-old dude. I take his photo, put it in a lineup, send it over to the detectives. Kid who's not in the game. He's just a guy. He's like, I have no idea what this is about. This dude just drove up here, but I did see him. You see him? Picks the guy out. He owns the car. This is wild. I start looking around the city. I do know we had a homicide before, so I'm assuming, maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know, though. This guy's a nobody. I have one of my detectives with me. We're riding around the city. I even stop the guy who's committed 4 different homicides, including the one the day before, up in his area, the gardens. I make sure I call it out, say that I stop him. I identify him. He doesn't have a gun, and he's just walking around the gardens by himself. I put that out in the air just in case anyone else is listening, not the cops. You know what I mean? Because everyone's got a scanner. Just I decided with my partner here, I'm like, yo, man, it's lunchtime. Let's run over and get some roast beef sandwiches. Run over to a establishment outside of the city, whatever. Get our sandwiches, eat them. I'm like, all right, I'm going to drop you off. I'm going to go back upstairs and I'm going to do like a write-up, send it out to everybody, be on the lookout for this dude because we got a warrant for the attempted homicide, the aggravated assault shooting. Drop him off in his car. I go upstairs, instantaneous, maybe within 10 minutes. My phone starts going off. The car's back in the city. It's hitting LPRs and it goes right to my phone. So I'm like, ooh, let's go to work, man. So I get downstairs. I hop in my Crown Vic. I call on the radio, ask for the 2 neighboring towns to assist me in my city because my city, 30 homicides a year, 4-point-something square miles, 33,000 criminals. 1 car's working. 1 car with a Pogue and a trainee.
Wow.
And he's on an accident was like some woman's fucking paralyzed outside of my station. So I don't have help. So I have to call for other people. I start driving around looking for this bad guy's car. I go up to where he lives. It's another town. I check that. I can't find it. I come back down. I see a kid from another town. And I say, hey man, post up here. I don't know where he went. I'm waiting for the, whatever. I drive down the street and here he goes. Bad guy. I make a U-turn. I get on my radio to my dispatcher, because I'm on a different channel than the other people. I said, listen, I got this car and I got this other town with me. Call the other town. Here he comes. It's that car and I'm this car. Get behind me. All right. Go up behind the dude. I'm like, I'm going to light him up, see what happens. Hit the lights. I'm in a Crown Vic. He's in a Ford Taurus. Dude tucks off. Boom. Outside agencies behind me. So I'm pursuit perfect. We're doing city pursuit. So every intersection we turn, so you don't blow the intersection, get totaled out or whatever. And the guy's a little bit older too, so he knows he doesn't want to get fucked up here. He wants to try to get away, right? So we go a 2-3 minute chase around the city. He hits this run street, makes a real hard run, and I know it's a T intersection. It's actually at the trauma center, and so I let up a little bit. He doesn't negotiate it too well, blows his tire on the curb and but we literally pass the ER. Passes the ER, gets down our way. There's other cars, other agencies coming at him head on. I call it out. I'm like, I don't know what he's going to do, but we're about to find out kind of thing. Like it's coming to the halt. Dude loses control, crashes out on a grassy plot. I don't, police, different tactics, different things. Like usually we have push bars. If you're in patrol, man, you go right up on that car, smash right into him, fuck him. Because you're going to get out and run. You don't want to outrun. You're going to try to hit him in or do something. I'm in a Crown Vic. I love my car. And I'm like, there ain't no way I'm totaling my shit. So this dude's in the middle of the grass. I stay on the street, make a turn. I expect him to run. It snowed earlier in the day, so I didn't have hay dudes on. That's really important to this story. I have boots on. So I'm not a runner, but I'm going to give it hell. Like, we're going, let's go. He pops his door open. I pop mine as I'm coming out, and I'm in my new attire. All right. I'm in my Zero Foxtrot hoodie and my t-shirt, my backwards hat, my gauges, like, but, badge on the hair, gun, like he knows I'm a cop. And as soon as he opens his door, I'm opening it up, but I'm watching through my window and I see the gun. And I'm like, oh, motherfucker, here we go. And muscle memory, and we shoot each other. Instantaneous, 2 or 3 shots each.
Wow.
I put him on his ass. He puts me down. I get hit, and I knew something was wrong. And I don't really remember, it's on video, but me falling backwards. Like I know ooh. And I fell back. I actually hit my head, and my feet go up. And if I had my hay dudes on, they probably would have shot off like a toddler, which would have been bucking at me.
That would have been awesome.
Right. But I fell back, hit my head, and I kind of come to like parallel, face down the ground in a push-up position. And I could hear the other officer shooting. And this feeling of, it's fucked up. It's 300. Like this euphoric, like, oh, I finally found an opponent. I come up, I'm like, there's no way I'm letting this finish. Like, no. Yeah. Nobody else is finishing this for me. And I climb up and I re-engage. The dude sits back up and I dump my mag. The other kid dumps his mag. And the video show, like, I'm like, all right, I'm hit. I gotta get to the hospital. That's my next move. And I'm like waving the other cops.
Where were you hit at?
I knew I was hitting my back.
In the back.
So coming out of the car, going to engage, I drop down like parallel with my hood. It hits my hood and catches me in the back. Now I know something's back here is messed up. I don't know at the time like what the situation is.
Was it painful? Was it?
No. There's I say a sting. Like I knew something happened.
Sure.
But there was no pain.
Adrenaline was working.
Bumping.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had work to do. I finished work. Dude dropped over. I saw unicorn stems. I'm like, all right, bet. And then I'm like, all right. And I'm waving on. But my guy like, yeah, go clear that dude, clear the car. I got to go. And these people, no one understands. There's siren going on. They're staring. And I'm like, no, what the fuck? And I kind of shrug and I go back in my car, pull a mag, do a change. And I look at the kid who I'm with and I'm like, all right, let's go. And we both walk up, check him, check the car. All right. And I'm finally like, I got to go to the hospital. I'm hit. And it's starting to realize, everyone's starting to kind of generate. And this one guy's behind me. And I'm like, I just kind of grab him like, yo, take me to the hospital right now. And he's like, bet. And he's a little more squirrely than that, but he goes running. And I'm like, all right. And I'm kind of running around. There's like a corporal from another town who's helping me. And he shot too. So like,
wow, that
he's not shot. I'm sorry, he's not shot.
Oh, okay.
He shot at the guy too. That's what I meant. So he's involved, and our rules, if you're involved in a shooting, you pull yourself out, like all this stuff. But he's now in charge of the scene because I'm the only one from the city there. And I'm like, I'm hit. I got to go. And like, everyone's starting to realize that there's a problem. As I get in the car, you actually see the one city car pulling up finally. They take me to the hospital. I'm yelling at the guy driving. Like, shut up, man. Stop telling him things. Let's just get to the fucking hospital. We're 2 blocks away. Like, we don't have time to talk to anybody. Just get there. So I slide to the back seat of the car and I'm like banging on the window to let me out. And he runs away from me. You fucking kidding me? So I had to slide my fat ass over to the other side. And he opens the door and I jump out like Leslie from The Hangover. Like, there ain't no stopping me at this point. I'm amped and I'm ready to go. And there's like a girl with like a little stretcher and I knock her out of the way and I run into the hospital. There's like a security guard. He's like, do I throw change at this dude? Like, what the fuck just ran in here? Because I look like I look and gun in my hip and I'm yelling, let's get radical. Start getting excited, people. And I'm yelling at nurses and yelling at doctors. And I start stripping because I know something's wrong. So I strip my shit off in the hallway and I'm yelling at the doctor, where do you want me? He's like, get in here and stop yelling. And I'm like, no, fuck this shit. I pull off my shirt and it's just fucking saturated. And I'm like, get behind me and find out what's going on. This nurse is like, sir, sit down. Like, shut the fuck up, you. I'll take my own pants off. I'm taking my own boots off. What's going on back here, doc? Let's start freaking out. And my gun was an issue. So like they were worried. A cop came in and grabbed my gun. And I found out I took it. Long and short of it is like, I had 20 minutes. I didn't know what was going on. And by the time I got out of CAT scan, they were like, dude, there's nothing in you. It was an in and out.
Oh, nice.
There was 2 holes in my back and they thought it went, bad scenario going this way. It actually was one in and one out, but they're like this big because it hit my car and opened up hollow point. And I mean, once they told me that, I was like, oh shit, I'm
just a flesh wound.
Literally, like, I'm going to the bar. Let's go.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit in between. One of the things this would end up fucking me up is that I felt fine. I prepared for this. I knew this was going to happen. Law of attraction. I've been planning this my entire, we'll say my career. 90% of what I prepped and planned for happened this day. The 10% is I didn't get the Tom Sizemore neck wound. We're like, motherfucker, right? And I didn't drive myself. Everything else, I knew this was going to happen. And I knew that I'm going to finish the shit. I got to finish the shit. I have a family to go to, and I'll figure it out when I get to the hospital. And I knew that if I get into the hospital, I'm in my best situation because they got so much practice, right? And I'm cool. I have no qualms about what happened. It's my 3rd shooting incident. It's my 25th officer involved incident that I've been associated with one way or another.
Yeah.
I'm cool with this, right?
Did having a close to death experience have any effect on your thoughts of suicide?
No, I don't know. I'll say this.
Were you already past that? Did you?
I haven't had, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I haven't had feelings of suicide. I think about it every day. And that's how I operate, right?
Sure.
June 9th of 2018, one of my partners, one of my officers, a friend of mine, didn't wake up one morning. And from that day on, I haven't felt it. And it's fucking nuts. Because when you feel it, like,
yeah,
and I don't feel thing, right? I mean, I touch and go for a year and a half easily. And from that moment, I don't have it. And I don't want to say it's, because it sort of realized, I don't know, maybe it is, but I've operated since then without the feeling. Mm-hmm. I've had some closer days, right? But for the most part, I've been cool. I lost my cousin in August of last year. He was a Marine. Peacetime in the late 90s. He committed suicide. And me and him were real tight. And that pushed me to all the limits. But I didn't even go back to that feeling. I have, like I said, I can organize my thoughts, the therapy, the different things. And because of people, I just lost another friend the other day, Danny, overseas. He was a chief, signed with one of the SEAL teams, but he was like the medical supply chief, didn't wake up. And he worked in the city with me, but it's been deployed for the last like 6 years, which is genius on his part. He just kept re-upping and fucking didn't wake up in his bunk on the ship. We just did his funeral last month, and I can't do funerals, so I couldn't even do it. But like I still have those isms. But you say near death experience, I don't feel like that.
You didn't feel like that was a near death. It was just a day of work.
It's another day of work. It's seriously. And like,
that's wild.
Yeah. All right. So here's my issue. I know what I put my family through. Mm. And I have my parents are still alive. They live in Fort Myers. My dad's retired now, retired chief. This shit happens. I was already kind of, say, Delco celebrity. I have a gun shop I've had since like 2013, and I support so many different causes and run raffles and charity things and all this. So, and it's fire, police, and EMS, same first responders, because of my brothers and I and my father, like I'm known. When this happened, instantaneous, it went out that Byrne's been shot. And most people that know me know I don't wear a vest. That's just part of life, right? I get to the hospital. Once I'm laying down and there's nothing more I can do, it's out of my control. Let these doctors and nurses do their thing. Cop comes in, and he's actually the one guy working the street. And I asked him if he had my brother's phone number, and he said no. I said, get out of the way. Next guy comes up. He's like, you got my brother's number? I was like, you got to call him. Tell my parents, call my other brother and get here. Tell my parents I'm okay. What happened? And we got to work this out. Okay. He walks out of the room, and I don't hear it. He gets a hold of my brother, cold calls him, and he's like, Steven's been shot, 2 to the chest. It don't look good. I need you at the hospital. And that's the message that went out across the counties. And
2 to the chest?
I didn't know the shot. I could feel it. I thought I got like one big chunk. I don't know what's going on, but because it's right here, it's not far-fetched.
Yeah.
He just happened to be the cop that walked in and saw it, right? My wife's a nurse. It's a Saturday. She should be home. So I remember my phone. There's a weird thing. In the car chase, I usually just leave everything on the side. I put one of my phones in my pocket, my main phone, and it made it to the hospital. So this nurse, who I've been cursing out the entire time, is behind. She's like, I'm like, I got to get hold of my wife. And she's like, I have your phone. I'm like, here's the code. Get in. And I was like, I'll call her. She goes, no, I'll call her. I was like, the fuck you? There ain't nobody talking to my wife but me at this very moment. And I can't get her. I keep calling. And I realize, shit, she's working as a hospice nurse, and she's at a client's house. So she doesn't have her regular phone. She has her work phone on her. This woman is able to direct connect, secure chat my wife to get a hold of her before I went to CAT scan. So I could actually physically talk to her. What we didn't know is that 3 different cops from different areas and fire chiefs are flying up to where my house is. No one knew where I lived on purpose, right? 7 years of that. I've been hiding. My name's not on the house or nothing. They just know the area, and they're just waiting. Lights and sirens sitting at an intersection waiting for someone to say where she's at. They end up finding her, banging on this, like the client's door, grabbing her. And I get a hold of her, and I tell her, listen, they're prepping me for OR. I'm here. I'll see you on the other side. Like, just tell Eric to slow the fuck down. I can hear the engine in the background, but I'm cool. When I get in the CAT scan, I finally have 2 seconds to myself. I've stopped yelling at everybody. I've accepted where I'm, and I get in the thing. The CAT scan's making on the machine, and I think I didn't go out like that fucking acorn bitch.
What acorn bitch?
Man, you got to YouTube the acorn bitch.
The acorn bitch?
This fucking cop loses his shit, dumps a mag into his own police car with a guy in the back seat because an acorn fell and hit the hood. Oh, it's awesome. You got to YouTube the shit out of that.
What the
I'm dead serious. And the dude's good monkey rolls and he's like, no, shot fire, I'm shot. And he's lighting his own car up. And it turns out it was an acorn. It was a South Florida sheriff or something. Yeah, look that up. But I had that thought, like, I'm not that guy, dude. So one of the women like, escorted me around to the CT scan. She's like, I know. She's like, oh, just like your brothers carried you in here, got you off the street, got you in here. We're going to take good care of you. I'm like, whoa, time the fuck out. Oh, I ran the fuck in here and I'm running the fuck out of here. Like nobody did anything for me. So do you get me fixed up, but I'm walking out of here. And I wanted that cleared. Once they told me I was clear, I'm like, man, I'm fucking out of here. I thought I was hot shit. Droves of cops. I mean, hundreds. Came to the hospital, the DA, the county council president, my mayor, who's just got elected 2 months before. You know, all these people come through and everyone's like, dude, you're good. I'm like, I'm fucking money, man. Like, I'm good. And I held that cocky ass attitude, ICU for 2 nights, get home, and, you know, the wound care sucks. So don't get shot. I'll tell you that. Yeah. I thought I was gangster. I'll say that too. I definitely am not gangster because I've been shot once and I don't ever want that shit to happen again. So no. I talked to my therapist like a day after I got home. She's telling her all this shit. She's like, you sound like you're in shock. I'm like, no, I'm not in shock. I'm good. I can go to work right now. I have a paper cut on my back. I'm straight. She's like, yeah, you're in shock. I was like, oh, whatever. And that night, boom, everything came crashing down on me. And
what does that mean?
I came out of it. I guess I was in shock, right?
The adrenaline wore off.
The adrenaline was wore off. The pain medical I wouldn't take a lot, whatever. It hit me. All the feelings that I don't normally have came out. You know? All my medications that have been worked don't work anymore. I had to double everything down. I stopped sleeping again. That was one of my issues. I haven't slept for all these years. I have to take medication to go to sleep. I was up for 7 fucking straight days. Pain is one thing, but like night terrors, freaking out, thinking I'm going to die. But I realized it's all because of the trauma on my family and what I did to all my peoples. I don't know. My brothers get that shitty call, have to deal with life like that. Call my parents, say, we don't know, but we're going to find out. When they show up at the hospital, I'm up at CAT scan. What happened is the jackass medics took the dead body off the scene and brought him to the fucking hospital. Fucking unicorn stump, man. They bring him in the hospital. Now he has to be worked in a hospital setting, right? When my brothers and all the cops are coming through, all they see is code. They can't see who it is. They can't see anything about it. They just see it and they think naturally it's me. I'm to the chest. I don't worry about it. And I'm sure they lost years of their lives dealing with that.
Did you feel guilty for that?
Yeah. I do because I put them in that position, right? But here's the other thing. I realized, and I'm talking shit. My mom flew up that night. My dad came up a couple of days later when I got home. Seeing him, he wasn't, I've never seen him upset. You know what I mean? Seeing him upset. Happy though, because I'm home. I'm home, right? I know that when I go back to work, I'm going to go back and do the same thing I do. Last 2 years have been really successful. I'm 6 for 6, right? Hot shit. I'm knocking things. I'm taking homicides off of other people because I'm solving them that fast. So I can't stop. I got the taste. The adrenaline's in there, right? I'm hooked. I got my car. I'm the senior guy. Everything comes through me. I dictate everything, right? I'm fucking there. I only need 3 more years or 4 more years to retire. I'm going to have my same car. I did shoot it once by accident. Caught the fucking, that little guy. Don't worry about that little guy. It took 2 rounds for me though, right?
Yeah.
So here's the other dude. It took 2 rounds. It took 1 that hit me.
2 for you and 1 from you.
Yeah, that's right. And 1 actually hit the A post and hit the mirror when I was on the ground and exploded on top of my head. I picked it up. Oh, by the way, the dude that was with me, the guy who was rocking on, hard charger, Marine. He's a tax driver, dude. Like I didn't even know him. I got to meet him later on and talking. Awesome cat, awesome dude. And I'm so thankful that somebody else was at least there. I still think I could have done my work, but I didn't have to. I had somebody with me, right?
How do you get out of this? How do you step back? If you don't step back from something like that, you're having success.
Having success, and I know that I'm going to go right back into the same, and this will happen again before I'm done.
Sure.
And I have to come to that realization.
What's your plan to step away?
I'm going to continue to do my therapies and try to get healed. The wound, I mean, it hurts. And just sitting here sucks. It's brumping and with all that shit. But this wound is worse, and I didn't know, and everything came back, and I'm having a lot more issues, and I think, and there's nothing I could do. I can't control it, right? The things I thought I could control, and with medication, like I said, all that went out the window. I was actually teetered off. My therapy was like every 3 weeks. I check in. I got married in November again. Like, life was really good, right? Except for I had my friends, sickness and different things, but life's been good. Yeah. And all of a sudden, this happens, and I can't control shit. I'm waking up, complete disarray like I used to, thinking I'm dying, panicking. I got guns everywhere. I got shit everywhere. Like I had to move things away from me or change the order just in case. I don't want to, negligent, anything. How the fuck am I supposed to control that?
Do you like control?
The illusion, right?
That's all we ever get.
Right, that's all you get. And I learned that in therapy. So radical acceptance. I don't have pain in my heart. That's another thing. So that's another thing that helped me with the new detect. Like, me coming back in 2022 was fucking, I didn't need to. I was actually going to retire in 2023. I was going to take all these lawsuit settlements and be like, aces, I'm done. And I couldn't do it. I literally I got fucking sick over the holidays. And I talked to the new captain. She's real religious. And she told me, speak to Jesus. And I was like, nah, I don't need that. You stole my hubcaps. But I knew what she meant. Like, just think on it. And I finally was like, nah, I can't do it. The accepting a settlement, you have to sign off saying you're going to quit, terminate. Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't do it. I was having so much success. I'm doing so well. And I forget what I was like in 2021, when I was injured, away from the world, no cancer, no Chester cancer, no hate, no nothing. And I went back, got hooked. And now I'm like, man, anyway, I stayed in it to get shot. You know what I mean? And here's the best stuff. The best stuff part is, it's not my defining moment. It's just, I'm validated. I'm vindicated with my career. I've had an awesome career. I've done all kinds of crazy shit. I've done some awesome stuff. And now I'm going to be known for this. And it's like, yeah, all right, whatever, man. I'll sell my sizzle right now, right? They've paraded me around a couple of times. My dudes did throw me a benefit, which I fucking hated. They got me so good. They didn't say a word. They threw a big, because I do that shit for people, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm getting told I got to show up at the thing, and it's got my face all over it. It up to like 2 minutes before getting in the car, I wasn't even going to go. I couldn't do it. And it was awesome. The support's been awesome. I got all these people paying, doing things. They go meal train. Like, we had fucking takeout from major restaurants for like 3 weeks. I'm like, this is annoying. Like, and here's the other thing. Everyone knows where I live now because they've come out in droves. So I got to move and shit. That's an whole other thing. But to answer your, I don't know. I don't know. I could tell you, I know that I'm not going to go back. Because of my family.
Department?
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm going to move on. I have to. And knowing that they may try to make me go back, which is like a fuck you, because a lot of people are like, dude, that's insane. I'm like, no, it's not. That's just the politics. And they're so short-handed. They need, they need me to be a leader again, right? But I can't do that for my family. How am I supposed to do that? That day, when I realized that, and I told my parents, I told my wife, who was already madder than hell at me because I talked shit the night before, like, this is just a fucking, this is just a paper cut bitch, giving her all kinds of grief. And she's like, she could see what's going on. I didn't even see it. And like, fucking holes in a track. And she had to pack that shit. And after that conversation, I'm sure she was happy about some of that, because that sucks so bad, man. But how am I supposed to do that? I can't. So I thought that, and I said, never again. I got to move on. I got a million things I want to do.
Good.
Podcasts. I want to do this. I want to do that. That day, it's the first time I think ever that I felt alive. So that was my life. Like, I have life to live. Fucking 43. Like, holy shit, man, I got a whole lot of life left.
You're at the halfway mark, man.
Shit, no, man, I didn't think I was going to make 30, right? I've been on borrowed time for a minute, but no, seriously, I have that thought. And that's cool. And
you're going to feel lost. It's part of the process.
right.
Embrace that as well, and work your way through it. I know what that feeling feels like from kind of being tossed out of where I was comfortable and what I knew, and involuntarily as well. I mean, we left Afghanistan while I was in Colombia and came out and was like, what the fuck? And my best advice, not that you need it, but is just be prepared for that phase and what that's going to feel like. And because it is suck, and you've got to be lost in order to find your next thing. But just don't stop looking. Like, take initiative, take action with that loss, that wander, and explore. And that's fun too.
I think I had like the minor league portion, but because in the 2.5 years I was out, I had it.
Yeah.
And I know that guy exists, so I just got to go find him again.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, you're at 100, like coming off deployments and things like that. I see a lot of lost cats, and understanding exactly that it's okay. It's okay, man.
And I didn't know that I was supposed to feel lost.
Right.
I thought I was fucked up because that's how I felt, and that everyone else had their shit figured out, and I'm the one that's 40 and has no idea what to do with his life. And it's like, this, you're in that phase of transition, and everyone feels lost. You're supposed to fucking feel lost, and you're supposed to wander and take initiative and go find it. And I think that's where I fucked up, was I didn't know that I was supposed to. And I didn't know that I needed to take ownership and accept that that's where I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to be doing. And it is going to be scary, and I'm not going to have answers, but the opportunity of infinity is exciting as shit. And you find things like Tech Company that pay
right.
fucking amazing, right? Like, my dreams to sail around the world, I can do that with that.
You ain't lying.
That's waiting for you too, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
I appreciate it. One last thing.
Yeah.
You talk about books.
Yeah, what you got?
All right. I'm gonna talk. I know you don't like you like to learn when you're reading all that stuff.
I do, yeah.
Friend of mine wrote this book.
Okay.
Very good friend. He actually was my minister at my wedding and all. His name's Reggie. It is made for A&E. All right. It's a
okay.
cute little it's a cute little Christmas story.
Yeah.
It's good entertainment. I just sat down and read it in one reading, so I recommend it. All right. It's called Christmas in Carolyn Woods. All right. By Reggie Joseph Corday. And that's your copy,
Thank
man.
You.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Your wife may dig it too. I mean, it's more of a, like I said, it's a spiritual A&E kind of thing, but it's
cool.
awesome. And this is my book that I wrote last year.
Really?
It's a collection of writings that I did back when I was a rookie, and it's literally shenanigans we did. It has nothing to really do with cop stuff.
So you use a pen name?
So I use a pen name for that because of so nobody's name's in that book with the exception of one guy, because it's a bio on him.
Okay.
So all of my characters are like, where lawsuits could still happen. So yeah, but I actually have a secondary pen name. And then the second half of the book are actually papers I wrote in college. So I was a journalism major, believe it or not. Later in life as I was going through as a PD. And I thought some of those stories are some of the best I've ever written. So that's the back end of the book. But that's literally to start me writing again. Last year I did it when I was working. I should have been working on detective stuff, and I was like, I got time to put all this stuff together. And this happens, and now everyone's like, what's your next book? And I'm like, dude, I had another book already set up. Now I got a third book. Anyway, but yeah, that's that's something for you to check out.
Thank you, man.
Great
Good
toilet book is what I meant. And they're both on Amazon and all that, but yeah, Saints Old Testament, truth be told, is perfect for sitting on the shitter. So get rid of your phones.
I will put it right there. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like to read. And if you guys want to check that out, please do.
Yes, please.
Awesome, man. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Zach. I really appreciate it. This is awesome. An awesome experience. And like I said, the other episodes are phenomenal. So
thank you. Are you hungry?
Yes, I'm hungry. Let's eat.
Let's go eat. Cool. Stay zero.
Stay zero.